Hey there, everyone. It's been a while. I've done a lot lately, I suppose. I got a good chunk of this video recorded in, September, when I was still living in my old place. It kind of came to a standstill in the moving process, and while I was unpacking and I got back to work again on this in the first week of October, but then I had kind of an impromptu trip to visit family in the States, which stopped things again. I started writing a whole post thing on YouTube 2 or 3 times, but I never actually posted them, so now I'll just say it here. Sorry about the long pause. If you're watching this in the future, first of all, thanks for checking out my old bullshit. This is what my videos used to be like. Ugh, disgusting, right? Second, disregard all that other stuff. Enjoy the video. Also, my mic is kind of fucked up. I'm going to try recording with it. I was going to use my headset, but that sounded like garbage too, so I'm going to see if you notice how bad this sounded after I'm going to finagle with the audio. But anyway, here we go. Here we go again. Oh boy, it's time, everyone. Mortal Kombat Armageddon, the sort of close to the 3D era. Just like Mortal Kombat 3, this third Mortal Kombat added a lot, changed a lot, and got sillier. They broke out the old goofy shit-o-meter again for this one. The big talking point for Armageddon is that it did the whole trilogy thing again, and included every single character, which was 62 or 63, up to that point. Of course, there was no Tremor, there was no Scarlet, and none of the old, retcon characters, but every single character that had appeared in the fighting games ever, pretty much. They added more stage interactions, they added air combat, they reintroduced parrying, and they added some other new strange additions to the fighting systems that only exist here. But not everything in this game was an improvement, and the things they took away from Deception kind of left a big hole. Armageddon plays as good or as bad as the 3D games ever did, I guess. It's the same basic engine and fighting system that they'd been using for the past 3 games now, and with all the small refinements and tuning that you could expect. The best thing about this game may be its opening cutscene, which I'm happy to say is still hype. I think Deception's opening still takes it in terms of atmosphere and cinematography and stuff, but this one takes it definitely in terms of flash and action by far. Even after playing the new game, Mortal Kombat 1, which I'll say has a strong reference to this game in a certain part, this opening is still radical. Look at this shit. This is sick as the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy. This makes Avengers Endgame look like fucking bullshit. Look at these fucking armies rushing at each other, and goddamn, you got Scorpion and Sub-Zero doing a sword fight, Baraka and Kung Lao jumping in the air and slicing the shit out of each other, Jax busting Quan Chi's leg. Hell yeah! Fuck yeah! Oh goddamn! Yes! Stryker being a bitch, Shiva taking on 2 dudes at once, Anaga snatches up Shao Kahn, and Zombie Liu Kang using his chains. Hell yeah! Fuck yeah! Yeah! Look at that! There's Shujinko. Hell yeah! This is awesome! That massive chunk of hype is enough to get anyone in the mood to throw down, and although it doesn't really hold up to modern in-engine cutscenes 15 years later, it's still pretty badass. The game itself, well, I'm torn. It has the biggest roster of any MK game, and includes everyone who ever showed up in Mortal Kombat up to that point, plus anyone else ever if you really put your mind to it and use a little imagination. It has a lot of charm in its extra modes and new stages and stuff, but at the same time, something about it has always felt cut back and incomplete. Maybe it's the way they've cut down on everyone's fighting styles to spread the styles they had out among all the new guys. Maybe it's the lackluster presentation of the endings and the limited and boring new guys. Or the way there are no unique fatalities in this one. Maybe it's the fact that nobody has bios. I had to go out and find the ones that they did make, and that was on a separate website. They're not even in the game, and that's how it was by design. I didn't know that before, and I already felt kind of apathetic toward this one. I have a hard time recalling many positives from Armageddon. Part of this could be to the way my personal life was changing at the time. 2006 or 7 was a couple years into me playing stuff again, and I spent a lot less time playing this particular entry with my dad. We played it together a bit, but it was mostly on my own. This was one of the first games I played online, actually. I remember hearing about how dangerous the internet was growing up, and obviously there were plenty of bad people and lots of bad shit to be found, but when I played this online, I mostly just shat the shit about whatever and semi-flirted with some random girl. This was also the first time I didn't play on a Nintendo platform first. I had somehow gotten an Xbox 360 by this point, but I was still in the phase where I would just walk around through a store and pick up random stuff without knowing about it. I remember being in probably a Walmart, and it must have been 2007 because I picked this up at a discount without even realizing there was a new Mortal Kombat, I think. And actually, I had no idea if it was even backwards compatible with the 360, because this is the first original Xbox game. I do remember seeing coverage for the Wii version sometime in either a Nintendo Power or a Game Informer, which I had picked up subscriptions for sometime around then. But my impressions of Xbox Live were surprisingly positive. I made a dude, I think I called him Dark Neon, and I met some other dude who had made Inuyasha and started telling me all about Inuyasha. I know I played multiple days in a row with that guy because my mom asked me about it one day and I told her I'd made an online friend. I didn't speak to him more than a few times, but I hope that guy's doing okay. I really got my ass kicked, but even now, thinking about those days, I realize I actually do have some nostalgia for this game. For a weird reason, this, along with the other games I played around this time, are tied to memories of old-time radio dramas. I said I was a weird kid, and during my family's game hiatus, one of my weirdest niches I got way into to pass the time was old-ass radio dramas. So whenever I start ripping arms off Suhao and blasting fools into pits of spikes, I'm like remembering the theme to The Whistler from the 1940s and making up dank metaphors like Pat Novak for hire. Did you know that Jack Webb was the actor portraying Pat Novak from 1946 to 1949? And he was the same guy who played Joe Friday in Dragnet. In fact, Jack Webb was a prolific radio voice that lent his talent to the radio show. I could go on forever, so I'll shut myself up here. I can't speak for everyone, but at least for a while, I thought this was going to be the last Mortal Kombat game ever made. And it was a little bitter to think that there wouldn't be Mortal Kombat on my cool new next-gen console. They never actually said this was the end. In press conferences and interviews and everything, they kept calling it the final battle, the end of the story, stuff like that, but not that it was the end of the series. For a while, the plan was to end the story here and come back with a hard reboot and a new continuity, not like Mortal Kombat 9 or now Mortal Kombat 1 eventually did. More like a reimagining and a different story altogether. But I was seeing stuff like, every combatant will collide for one final battle. I found this GameIndustry.biz article from February 8, 2006, and it said, as the final chapter of Mortal Kombat on current generation gaming platforms, we're eager to raise the bar for fighting genre yet again with Mortal Kombat Armageddon. So they never said it was final, just that it was the end of the then current generation. But it was common knowledge at the time that Old Man Midway was having a hard time financially. Mortal Kombat was probably their biggest moneymaker, but it wasn't the juggernaut that it is today. Armageddon was at least planned to be the end of Mortal Kombat as we knew it, with the following game planned to be something with a bunch of new characters a la Street Fighter 3. Armageddon had a few commercials, and it's weird revisiting them, as they remind me of an era where I started seeing game ads for myself. I didn't have TV service, like, ever, so I don't think I ever actually saw these specific commercials, but I remember the tone from the time. I did some research, and the most interesting new thing I found out was this site here, creativekilling.com. I never heard of it until now, but I see it was a place to see game footage and send death discs, which was some way you could upload pictures and superimpose them onto animated characters, maybe kind of like a jib-jab thing? I don't know.
Hey, this is Miles from the much more recent past, future, or whatever. I actually took this guy's advice and looked up happy slapping Mortal Kombat on Google, and actually all I could find was this. But then I remembered the Wayback Machine, and I was able to get in and see what Creative Killing at least looked like. Look at this edgy-ass shit from 2000 whatever. I couldn't do much here, unfortunately. I don't know what else these links would do, but I did see the other Striker design in here, and I realized that since it was 2007 now, my birthday wouldn't actually let me enter. I wasn't mature, so that was kind of funny. I still don't know everything that was here, because it required a Flash player, but it was nice to see that it was kind of archived here. Maybe people can play around in this.
I figure this was kind of a fan thing, but I'm not really sure. If anybody knows about it, I guess you can tell me. But an anti-bullying charity got all up in arms about it. Sounds pretty goofy, and I wish I could find out more. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you know anything about this. I'm going to show you the Wii controls. This isn't where I live anymore. I actually had the Xbox version originally. I remember wanting the Wii version and seeing the articles in Nintendo Power and thinking, I gotta try that. It advertised the visceral, awesome carnage you could engage in with the new motion controls. It was the shit, I was sure. It's buttery smooth and you can feel like you're right there. Holy shit, it's epic, look at this. I mean, if you don't think you're ready to evolve to the next step as a gamer, you can still plug in your crusty old Waveburb or classic controller, I guess, but the Wii also had some exclusive menu screens. I like putting the little cursor here on Kano's eye. There was an endurance mode on the Wii, which turns out is a good way to grind out money. The fights come at you fast and people explode when you beat them, just like in the good old days. The first time I tried this, I got to the falling cliff stage, and it went like this. This happened, and it ended like this. In this version is also a Wii training mode, so you can get the hang of the subtle intricacies of the controls. And the Wii also has Lady Chameleon, back from 64. But one thing that's missing is online features. You could not play the Wii version online at all. Why not? The Wii had online functionality and lots of multiplayer games, right? Well, 'cause Nintendo, that's why. Armageddon takes all the lessons learned from Deadly Alliance and Deception and refines the combat system even further. It's still not smooth or great by today's standards, but I didn't really mind it in Deception, but between the release of Mortal Kombat 1, playing that, and the week and a half or so I had to take off in the middle of making this video. This script was written way before, now it's more like 2 full months, but I now think that this feels way clunkier. This is in part at least due to the new parry system, which complicates fights in a slightly different way than Deadly Alliance did. Instead of a button, it's block plus back, and if someone hits you, you get an opportunity to retaliate. Then there's block plus forward, which lets you give up and lay down on the ground. I assume this is to let you use wake-up attacks whenever you want, but damn, this looks silly.
Hey man, hold up, give me a minute, I just ate a beefy 5-layer before I got here. I gotta chill for a sec.
I don't ever think I learned these mechanics before. I don't remember this at all. Another big addition is the air combos. You can now jump into the air and attack a guy, do gravity-defying air combos like it's fucking Devil May Cry or something. I also never fully grasped these before, but this is kind of the bread and butter of the combat now. The main grounded combos have been significantly reduced, so you basically need to master your pop-ups before you can get your opponent airborne and juggle them around. It's satisfying when you pull it off, but it also makes me kind of think, like, why though, on reflection. And like I said, a significant detraction is that because of the huge-ass roster, a fighting style has been stripped away from everyone who was in the game before, and they were spread around to the newcomers. Now, most people have one fighting style and one weapon style. The dialogue combos work the same, but now with less flashy stance changes. I actually don't mind that much because juggling which stance you were in was always kind of shitty, but now that's replaced with air combos, which I also don't super love. The death traps and stage interactions are still here, along with breakers and uppercuts. Thankfully, the Deadly Alliance exclusive characters have been reworked a bit to give them all the universal down 2 or down high punch uppercut we've come to know and love. Conquest gameplay is also more active than Deception's adventure RPG thing and has its own brawler combo system. The crypt in Armageddon is simplified, way simplified, like why even have it simplified? There's only one type of coin now, and you'll probably get enough money to buy most of what you want with a Conquest playthrough and a couple of arcade runs. Also, the crypt itself is just a bunch of well-organized bookshelves. They're all marked with exactly what you'll find in them. I'm kind of 2 minds about this because on one hand, it takes out all the random bullshit, which is nice if you want something really specific, but it has pretty much no personality. The previous crypts took way too long and were sometimes obnoxious, but they had atmosphere and felt like part of the game's world. This one I don't really even remember. But Conquest this time around is arguably the best iteration of the mode. This was the last time they did a weird alternate game within a game before they turned their story modes into long movies, and this was just after the release of Shaolin Monks, which I said I need to cover sometime. But you can see how they went in more of a polished action brawler direction than the light RPG Conquest before. I don't have as many fond memories of this one though. I definitely played it and beat it before, but I didn't spend any time just walking around in the world like in Deception's. Conquest and Deception is a bad game, but I like the vibes, and it's got a weird tone. This is a technically better game, but it's not as fleshed out as a full stylish action game or whatever, and gets pretty repetitive. It's fun to run around and bust people up though. You run around as this dweeb and unlock some little special move things, and you meet up with Mortal Kombat characters and pick up weapons and stuff sometimes. With this being the kind of Mortal Kombat trilogy of the 3D era, this has most of its content unlocked from the start. You can find secrets in Conquest mode, but they're pretty much all sitting in the path and in plain sight. The handful of unlockable characters in the game are tied to finding these 60 character-specific objects like Kung Lao's hat, Scorpion's spear, Su Hao's self-respect, and so on. But really, you don't need to do any of that, because this time around you can just buy the shit with your coins. Like I said, they're all marked and labeled. There are a few secret codes you can enter in the crypt on this question mark box here to unlock shit even faster. I kind of like that that's here, but it's also kind of a letdown. Gone are the days of look to the Luna. The place where they really dialed up the goofy shit-o-meter is in the new side minigame thing. Diversion, if you're Ed Boon. This time, there's no chess or puzzle modes, but the cute little chibi Tetris guys are back for kart combat. This is obviously influenced by Mario Kart, and Ed Boon even said so in an official Xbox magazine in September of 2006. So what happens when you mix MK with MK? You get this cartoon violence version of a kart racer. It's pretty simple, but for a piece of side content in a primarily fighting game, it's more than an afterthought. I would absolutely play a more fleshed out version of this. You could play against the AI and with 4 other players, or split screen, or online. Funnily enough, on the Wii version, this was the only option I had at first. Turned out this was because I didn't have a controller plugged in or connected properly, but lol. The karts are all themed after the handful of included characters. You've got Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Bao Raicho, Jax, Baraka, Raiden, Kitana, Melina, Cyrax, and Johnny Cage. And the unique special move each one of them can do is neat as well. Like, Bao Raicho barfs on you, it's like an oil slick. Scorpion shoots out a spear and switches place with you. Jax pounds the ground, and the cars flip over next to him. And all the cars are themed too. Baraka has like a bladed out car. Scorpion has a flaming skull. Jax drives a tank. There are death traps. It's a good time. You get boosts. It's a good time. It's a fun little kart racer. A la Garfield kart. So the main story content to be found here is in Conquest. Conquest is sort of a basic character action thing, this time with a punch, uppercut, roundhouse, and a grab. Not anywhere near as fun as Shaolin Monks, unless you ask this guy who said, "This was better than Shaolin Monks? Are you sure, buddy?" But it's kind of a similar concept. You can get enemies into a stun state and do like a handful of quick fatalities. You can also sometimes use the environment as a death trap with like these spikes and stuff. There's some noteworthy goofy dialogue in display here. Again, nowhere near like the best stuff in Shaolin Monks, but adequately humorous for a brief, light chuckle. Throughout the zones, you'll have to dodge instant death traps and shit. There are crushy pistons thrust at you, like in Mythologies. There are boulders that run you over, like Indiana Jones. There are these spinny blades positioned just at neck level to threaten you with a pesky decapitation. You can also sometimes get like a big fire sword or an ice wand that shatters people. One of my favorite sequences here is when you get to smush these little imps with a Looney Tunes mallet thing. There's fun to be had here, and even if the system is pretty basic, you can have a good time. You also find relics that let you unlock new characters and all the alternate costumes and stuff. You play as the mid-2000s version of fucking generic-ass Luke or Jake or whatever from the 2020 movie. What was that dude? Cole? But back in 2006, his name was Taven. No, but really, you don't think this is like the same guy? He looks enough like a generic dude. He has this stupid little goatee, and he's somehow important to the plot, and he meets all the cool characters and somehow beats them, and he also gets armor provided by the plot. They even made him related to an established character. He's Rain's like half-brother or something. It's the same guy. As we saw in the last video, he and his old man younger brother have a quest. David and Dagon were put in these sleep chambers because Delia and Argus, their parents, these god people, saw bad stuff coming in the future. Where did they just pulled all this story out of their ass? You control this dorkass, he's the good bro, as Dagon teams up with the bad guys in his quest to become a god? I don't know. I have to admit, the story here is not what I'm here for at all. It's kind of a shame that this is where the original timeline ended up. They have these dragons, they're these protectors, and their mom says that Blaze, the fire guy from the background stage in Mortal Kombat 2, will signal these dragons, and the quest will begin. They say that Armageddon's going to happen if they don't fight these guys, so I don't know. You start in this jungle. You meet jobbers like Cobra, and you meet Cabal there. You go to a robot torture ship and have to escape. But now they're called Takunin? Is that ever a thing? We'll talk about that later. You go to this Lin Kuei thing, you fight Wampas, and you fight Sonya, and you punch a bunch of monks, and you choose whether to kill this guy to get Katana's alternate costume or not. You dodge a whole bunch of spinny blades, and damn, is this what the Lin Kuei have to deal with on their way to work? Shit, man. You do some story stuff, like you're the one who wakes up Frost at, so her ending in Deception was real, and that ending in the handheld one was real. You fight Sub-Zero, you fight Noob Saibot, you go on a mountain, and you raid these dragon caves. I don't know. I got a lot of information from this walkthrough on GameFAQs, and I'm just going to talk about some highlights from my playthrough that were fun. Rushing through that robot ship thing, running through the ice palace, and impaling dudes on spikes. This one, you fight Melina, and I did this to her, and it said Melina gets her pride wounded and runs away. So, yeah, Taven is a dumbass. He helps Shinnok at one point. You fight these actual red dragons. My favorite part where you smash the imps with the hammer. You fight this giant statue. You fight big old skulls in a 10-minute repetitive button mashing sequence in the end. And then what's-his-face, Taven, is the canonical winner, at least for a while. Elephant in the room for this game is the fatalities, or the lack thereof. I said this game feels like they cut a lot of corners to keep up with their ambitions, and one of the biggest corners they had to cut was in the fatality department. Now, I'm not one of those people who thinks that fatalities are the only thing that Mortal Kombat has to offer, but they are a big part of the appeal, and doing something at the end of the match is kind of a tradition, you know? Armageddon has no fatalities, at least not in the way that every other game before and since has had. At the finish him state, you can input stuff like back punch to do a thing. The goal is to do a bunch of Three Stooges shenanigans, like hold their nose and give them a wet willy and pull their pants down before ending them with an actual kill move. You get shorter and shorter windows to add all your inputs, and you get a ranking from basic to ultimate fatality, and then you get coins for your efforts. You can chain together big combos of up to like 12 things, and they have a specific name like Killer Fatality, Brutal Fatality, Savage Fatality. I think the most I ever got this time was 9, and I found a guide that didn't really seem to work for me, but he's never felt all that great to me. The timing windows just make things feel clunky. It's just a race to see how fast the animation will play out before you do a kill move. I found another interview with Ed Boon from the time, and he tried to spin this as a positive, but I really don't buy it. He said, in all the previous Mortal Kombat games, fatalities were triggered, and then both players would just sit back and watch the fireworks. Well, yeah, man. Put on a show. I want the fireworks. To follow up on this analogy, we came for fireworks, but instead the guy hands us each a box of, little poppers. And I guess, man, yeah, those can be fun, but, I don't know. I mean, coming up with fatalities for every game has to be tiring. Doing it for over 60 characters and making them all creative and unique is a big undertaking, but what they ended up doing is giving everyone a pretty much the same generic options. Yeah, it might feel decent to link up a 10-part murder combo once or twice, but there's only so many times you can rip an arm off and punch a head into the air before it kind of just gets tedious. But shit, man, do you remember Nimbus's fucking fatality in Armageddon? That shit was dope! You fucking grabbed a dude, kicked his knees out, and pulled on his arm, and I don't know. At least MacGruber can do his throat rip thing. So, with over 60 characters, and not many of them having new info to add, I'm not going to go into too much detail on everyone. It's kind of a shame, because there were a few interesting potential threads that Deception left dangling, but Armageddon isn't too concerned with giving every character a satisfying conclusion. I'm also not going to show everybody's full ending, because they don't have cool art this time. They all just kind of had a kata video with text as the ending. It's a classic example of tell, not show. The endings usually didn't matter, but these super didn't ever matter. But what if they did a thing where all these endings are like an alternate universe canon now? Wouldn't that be wild? I did go ahead and draw a couple crappy drawings for these endings, so I don't know if you're just listening to this as background noise, but if you want to see my bad art, you can take a look as I talk about some of their endings. I didn't do all of them, because that's too many. But, anyway, I'll do a few of them, and I'll summarize the wiki articles for what I can find. I'll talk about everybody's ending, but anyway. There is a cool concept video of the bios that they were gonna maybe do in the crypt here, but it uses Ermac's Deception bio, and there's only one they ever made. That would have been cool though, huh? But less than a third of the roster even got still image bios, and those were just put on a website leading up to, and even after the game's launch. I don't want to repeat the same shit, and neither did they, apparently, so I'm not going to talk too much about the bios. With the returning characters, pretty much they're the same character from the previous two games with costumes I've already shown in those games. They mostly use the same fighting styles, and just -1 because they had to give everyone a style. A few have been remapped, though. Here are the 62 MFs in the game, plus Chameleon on the Wii. I'll go through them in the order they appear on the roster, if they've been covered in 3D before, and I'll save the ones who are new for after. The top of the list here is all the ninjas, so first of all, Scorpion, from what I can gather, didn't get an actual bio here. I found some stuff on the site, but I don't think it's official. It's definitely not in the game. I'll include what is in the game. What I found out was on their official website, and the other stuff I found too. So, Scorpion. He was the Elder Gods champion last time we checked, right? So now he's not into that idea anymore. They brought back his dudes as Hellspawn, and I guess he didn't like that. Come on, man, you're one. So he's here to kill these new doofuses. He plays the same, but without any Pigua or Moifa. He has his alternate costume that we've seen before. His ending has his 1,000-strong clan coming back, but then Quan Chi grabs Scorpion's son and drags him through a portal, so Scorpion is back on the chase. Sub-Zero. He comes up to fight the new guy too, for invading his palace thing, but while they're fighting, who would have guessed his family crest he'd suddenly spy tattooed on his eye, and son of a gun, it's just like the one on the door. He ends up trying to fix his brother Noob. He's the same, but he doesn't have his dragon style, and he has the costumes we saw before. In his ending, his medallion makes him really super strong, and that's good. But he gets so strong that he becomes an ice god, but not like a real god, and so the real gods get all pissed off and send out guys to kill him, and that's bad. Reptile's around again, separate from Onaga. I guess maybe he's being used to make these dragon men that come up in the story. Reptile sadly doesn't have his crab style, or Hungar. What he does now have is Pao Choi, which I think was Liu Kang's, and he also has a Shaolin monk's costume in addition to his lizard one, so that's cool. His ending tells us the pyramid thing opened up to reveal he's a Tyran. He then reverts back to human form and gets set to fuck. Ermac is still a good guy. He has the one cool bio, but otherwise not much. His costumes are the same. He doesn't have his Huai-Chan, and he still has the same easy combo, so I liked him a lot in this game too. His ending is him being blown up, so I guess he's no longer a dude jambalaya. Each soul gets a physical form, but they still have one collective consciousness. Noob does some attacking and making cyber demons in the story mode. He's separate from Smoke now. They didn't take a style from him, and they gave him a troll hammer, so I guess he's just enhanced. In his ending, he's transported to like an arena where he faces his inner demon, Bi-Han, himself as Sub-Zero, and they can't beat each other, and what emerges is some other weird third thing. Would have been cool to see that. Smoke pretty much just gets his ass beat by the new guy. He doesn't have a human form in this game. Nothing is really stripped from him except Noob Saibot, and he's given Judo. He doesn't have a weapon, and he doesn't have a human form. His ending is nanomachines, son. Somehow, his nanomachines take on the power of Blaze and multiply, and they consume like an entire realm. They take over Edenia, so Smoke becomes an entire realm. Where do you go from there? Cyrax is still a Special Forces guy in this one. He's the same as he was, with no Sambo. His ending is Blaze explodes him into being human again. He and Sub-Zero fight Cyrax and Smoke, and hold them until they can get humaned up too. Cabal is around, being the Black Dragon leader and plotting against Movado. He's pretty much the same, no Gojo Ryo. He gets super juiced up hook swords and fights Movado in an all-out hook sword fight! Movado gets his shit rocked, and so he does his Harakiri. Again, that would have been nice to see. Cabal does a Predator head grab and holds his head up above the pyramid to be cool. Then next is Dairo. Actually, he has a card with a bio. He's still a mercenary who killed an innocent, just like before. He doesn't have Eskrima anymore. His ending gives him gold armor. Shao Kahn attacks him, but the armor burns Shao Kahn. Dairu takes over Outworld and makes it good and nice, and then it allies with Earthrealm and Edenia. Darius is the same anarchist rebel guy. He still has his styles with no leopard. His ending shrinks the pyramid and turns it into a ring, and he gets to open my vault. So these endings are being narrated by the dad guy. So anyway, he gets to put this pyramid ring on, and that lets him finally beat Hotaru. So now Taven and Dagon have to go kill Darius for stealing their shit. He took their armor and stuff. Boraicho is still a good guy from Outworld. He has no sumo style. His ending sends him to the heavens where the Elder Gods live. He meets the narrator guy again, and the guy has the gods turn Boraicho into a god who protects Outworld. Man, it's God City up in here. Everybody's turning into a god. Movado is out here repping Red Dragon and fighting the Black Dragon. He doesn't have his Wing Chun. His ending is he suddenly gets the power to telepathically control anyone with a Red Dragon tattoo. He and his army beat the Special Forces and Black Dragon and tattoo all of them so he can control them. So he ends up controlling all of Earthrealm. Hotaru didn't capture or kill Sub-Zero like in Deception's endings. Shujinko beat Onaga and Nightwolf bound him to the Netherrealm. They didn't actually blow him up like we saw a bunch of times, but Shinnok gets Onaga out, and he and Hotaru are right back to sucking Onaga's dick. Hotaru doesn't have his Bashan Fan. His ending has him transform into a pure Order Man. He uses his Order power to bust into Havoc's mind and make him an agent of Order. Oh, shit. Nightwolf, the first one here who has an external bio from the website, I think. He did the corruption thing to imprison Onaga in the Netherrealm. He meets some spirit guides who say that a big old fight is coming, and that a bad guy is going to make it happen. He befriends Johnny Cage and finds out about Shinnok. He sees Kitana and Liu Kang's ghost, who is bonded to her, but Nightwolf transfers the bond to himself and looks for a way to unite Liu's body and soul. Nightwolf is the same with no taekwondo. Killing Blaze sends him to Spirit World, where he becomes a ghost. The ultimate shaman, he says. He does help Liu Kang get his body back. Mocap is here. He has a card bio. It just says pretty much that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He doesn't have karate or taekwondo or tai chi, but he does have Jeet Kune Do and Wing Chun. He gets fucked up at its ending, and literally everyone there dies. He's celebrated as a constellation. He turns into stars, and so, we see him dancing around here on the pyramid, but actually he's fucking dead. Tell me about the legend of Mocap, Grandpa. Johnny Cage gets a website bio too. He reminisces about the good old days and says Raiden is all goth now. He finds out Shinnok is back, and he goes to Shang Tsung's island and beats on Shinnok. He's really important now. Johnny Cage gets no Jeet Kune Do. He only has Shorin Ryu. His ending has him getting super strong and super dexterous, I guess. He gives up his superficial past life. What the shit? That's the biggest screwed up ending yet. Shit, that ain't real. Kano is in the story as a prisoner of the Red Dragon who did experiments on him. Kano has no Aikido, and he has this new taunt move. His ending says that they were trying to turn humans into dragons, but he escaped, and he turns into a Black Dragon human hybrid? Isn't Black Dragon the clan name? What were they smoking? I don't know. Maybe they thought nobody would read these, but I am, right now, so, Jax, he's sent out on a rescue mission. Apparently his arms has bioscanners now, so that's cool. He has no judo because Smoke took it. Also, Kenshi doesn't have it either. In his ending, his cyber arms get the blaze juice, and he turns into a full cyborg. Somehow, Sector had placed a control chip in him, so he beats up Sector and takes over the Katunen, the new cyborg ninja clan, and so Jax is now the cyborg leader. Kenshi gets a website bio. He quits the Special Forces and goes solo again, killing bad guys with his spirit sword. He gets a mind to go fight the Red Dragon, and he declines Johnny Cage's invite to do the battle against evil. He wants to save Captain Generic here, but then his sword draws him in to lead the good guys. Killing Blaze cures his blindness and gives him super senses, but it overwhelms him, and so he goes to live in isolation in like a sensory deprivation chamber. Bummer. Shujinko has a website bio. Even though he was only the guy for like a single game, he beat Onaga and reverted him to a reptile. He's a hero to the people, but feels guilty for causing all the shit and deception. But then Katana invites him to party down, and he's like, wait, isn't she, like, helping dead Liu Kang? He thinks he can spot a trick, and now he goes to redeem himself. He gets no Shaolin Fist, but surprisingly, he has most of the special moves that you unlocked in Deception. When he beats Blaze, he gets everybody's superpowers. Like, all of them. Everybody's superpower ever. And he goes mad and decides to take on the Elder Gods. So, that's where he leaves off. Here's Su Hao. Unfortunately, he has a card bio. We learn nothing new about him. He has neither Shuichao or wrestling, but he stole sumo from Boraicho. And he can now use his chest laser, too. He gets killed in his ending, but then he gets to be a demon in another realm? He's like a god of emptiness and desolation? He kills Shinnok? And gets to rule Netherrealm? Nuh-uh, not that guy. Bullshit. Cobra, he gets a card bio, and he's the same dork-ass from the Black Dragon. He doesn't have Shorin Ryu, and he doesn't have his Kali sticks either. Instead, he has a machete. When he beats Blaze, he gets supercharged and demands that the gods declare him Lord of the Realms. They're like, okay, but you gotta have a lady, so he chooses Kira, and they make her into a death god. She makes out with him, and does the original Sonya fatality, and murders him. It's like they say, kids, when you deal with cobras, once bitten, twice die! Sorry about that. Liu Kang gets no bio? How the mighty have fallen. He's still a zombie, just like we saw in the intro. He doesn't have his Pao Choi, and he donated it to Reptile, like we said. Killing Blaze reunites his body and soul. He gets god powers and beats Emo Raiden and becomes the protector of Earthrealm, like a new god. Sounds familiar. Kung Lao. He joins up with Fujin because both the good guys are bad now. They took away his Mantis style. He gets blasted into the past and meets the original Kung Lao. He takes his place and beats Goro 500 years ago, changing the future. That'd be kinda cool to see. Shang Tsung gets a bio. He died in the intro of Deception, but their souls are all fighting. He gets to go back to Outworld and meets Shao Kahn and Goro. Shao Kahn makes him a new Flesh Pit's body, and then he kills a bunch of Li Mei's people, taking their souls. He and Shao and Goro bust shit up. He hears from Quan Chi and Shinnok, though, and plots to do another betrayal. He's the same without his crane style. He wins and gets the power to change people's forms. So Shao Kahn gets jealous, and Shang turns him into a centaur slave. Shang Tsung gets to rule Outworld, I guess. Quan Chi has also somehow returned. You come across him talking with Onaga, Shang Tsung, and Shao Kahn in the story. He fucks up Orin, Taven's dragon. He gets no Tang Sudo. He's the same otherwise. He wins, and he gets to be super duper sorcerer. The power busts his medallion, and he goes to attack the king guy along with the Elder Gods, but it was a trap to find the source of the disruption. Quan Chi gets turned into a Kami Dogu, his old medallion, and then he gets sent back in time to the point where Shinnok discovered it? Like, okay. Raiden's here, and he's taking matters into his own hands. He goes to, like, a pet cemetery thing, and he had beaten a group of necromancers called the Huan? I don't know where this came from. We see it was Raiden who made zombie Liu Kang to be his enforcer. Then he forms an alliance with Shinnok, but only until he figures out what Shinnok is up to. Then he's gonna beat him up. I thought I remembered him having a good guy costume, like Light Raiden, but he doesn't. He's just Dark Raiden, or Dark Raiden without a shirt. He becomes like a super god and blows up all the realms. I guess he's right, though. Ain't no one gonna threaten it after that. Sonya, post-Onaga, she's back to hunting Kano and the Black and Red Dragons, but when she gets back, the Tanuki guys have gotten pretty big back in Earthrealm. They track a ship, and Jax gets captured, and Sonya is stuck on beating the Tanukins and their Outworld pals. She doesn't have Kimpo. When she wins, Blaze offers her power? I thought he died, but I guess he offers her power. She stares at Kano, and he explodes. She explodes all of her enemies and paves the way for peace. So, cool, I guess. She has exploding powers with her eyes. Kitana. Now, she had met Blaze in the handheld, the Unchained version, remember? She's a good guy. She doesn't have Eagle Claw anymore, but she does have this new teleport move. When she wins, she gets physically connected to the Elder Gods and becomes their champion. She makes a cool lady fighting force with Sindel, Jade, and Sonya, and Li Mei. They do a bunch of badass shit. Melina, she gets a bio. She posed as Kitana and took over her army. Then, when Shao Kahn comes back, she makes the barrier that Shang and company busted through. She gets protected by the mages, and then she stabs them and surrenders to Shao Kahn. She then sends the message to Shujinko that we saw earlier to trap him. Melina attacks him when he arrives and beats him and puts him in a dungeon. Melina wants more power, though. She doesn't have her yin-yang style. When she wins, she gets united with Kitana for a second. Then Melina gets beautiful, and Kitana gets the big mouth. Melina continues her ruse, and Kitana goes mad in a dungeon. So that's a bummer for her. Jade, she's an Adelian loyalist, and she hates Tanya. She lost her Kosho style. Jade gets godlike powers, and Blaze tells her to make a wish come true. She yells the pyramid open, and then she huffs and she puffs, and all the dark guys get sucked in, and then it reseals itself. She's a hero, and the pyramid stands as a reminder not to fuck with Edenia. Ashra. She gets out of heck and finds the Elder Gods. They were looking for her. She would become super pure and an angel of light. Then she goes to Veternus to fight vampires with her magic sword. But Mitara beats her and goes to Edenia, so now Ashra is hunting Mitara. She doesn't have Bagua. When she beats Blaze, she turns into a pure light. She seeks out evil and finally purifies Quan Chi himself. Li Mei gets a card that tells you what you already know. She gets power and she banishes the Deadly Alliance to the Obelisk, where they have to fend off waves of aggressors. Tanya is on the dark side, but she serves herself, really. In her ending, she turns into a dragon caller. She can imagine dragons and make them real, so she conquers all the realms, and she has a kink of being called Master by Shao. Frost, as we know, she wakes up in her temple. Her card mentions that she's very proud. Her ending has her taking Sub-Zero's medallion again, but this time she can handle the power. She opens up her ancestors' tomb and makes all the Lin Kuei into Cyromancers. She can do soul stuff, I guess. She conquers realms and leaves them frozen wastelands. Sindel, still a good guy here. She uses the super wind power to bring back Jared, her dead husband. Then they and Kitana form the Triad of the Just, which is pretty neat. Mitara, she got her realm independence from Shao Kahn and is in the process of resurrecting her civilization. But then a genocide starts its way through the Mora? Who the fuck? The vampires. And it turns out that Ashra with Detusha? What the fuck? That's the sword's name, I guess? It has a history of corrupting people into killing for it. So that's why a guy trapped it in another realm. So she gets Ashra to chase her and finds out about some Edenian weapons. What a lore dump. I don't know. Yeah, she doesn't have her Dragon Teeth thing, but she does have a Kama weapon now. She becomes a blood god and kills everyone and makes them vampire slaves. She uses her vampire army to conquer the realms. Kira is set up for an ambush at the Argus Temple, gets beat up by Taven in the story. She doesn't have Kempo or Xingyi, so I guess she's less of a Kano-Sonya hybrid, but she does get Yuan Yang. She gets superpowers, but Cobra is dead. She resurrects him. Then Cobra gets back at her for killing him in his ending by killing her in her ending. Man, she messed up and now Cobra is immortal? God damn it. Baraka, in his card, calls his thing with Melina a dysfunctional fling. He has no Hungar. He gets blazed and makes Shao and Onaga submit or die. They refuse, so he gets double-length super blades and he murders them. Then he takes Melina and does the choice thing with her, and she decides to be his queen. Havoc, with no stake. When he wins, he becomes Chaos incarnate. He turns everything into chaos. Draman is a yucky demon man. He doesn't have his Netherrealm or Oni styles, but he is given Hungar from Baraka. When he wins, his mask becomes alive and possesses him. It turns him super angry, activates Rage Mode. He kills his pal Moloch and goes on to kill more. Shao Kahn is the leader of Outworld again, and allied with the bad guys. Shao Kahn has no Lui He. He beats Blaze and gets 10 times stronger, and he merges the realms with Outworld. He runs out of shit to conquer and freaks the fuck out of boredom. It's weird that this was kind of the canonical ending that ended up getting retconned to become, the ending that they take in Mortal Kombat 9. Anyway, Goro. He's ordered to stop any intrusions, but then he fails when Taven gets there. He beats Blaze and gets god powers, but his little pals, the Deadly Alliance, and Shao Kahn and Onaga get jealous, and they try to take the power for themselves. Goro chuckles and then unleashes a bunch of Shokans to kill them. And then also, I guess I'll include Blaze here, because technically he was playable in Deadly Alliance, but this is an altogether different Blaze. He's not the man that we saw before. As we saw before, he had to guard a dragon egg. After that, he feels that something's wrong. There are too many fighters, and Onaga is back, so Blaze decides to wake up the boys, but Dagon woke up too early, so Blaze has to intervene. Blaze has the flame style. He's not at all the character that he was in Deadly Alliance. This corrupted version of Blaze beats off everyone who comes at him. Armageddon comes, and reality shatters until there's nothing. It's kind of like Onaga's unused Deception ending. It's pretty bad. So that's all of the playable characters from the 3D era so far. Now, we'll go to the other characters from the 3D era who were never playable, but showed up in the games, the bosses. Like in Trilogy, they're kind of broken and fucked up. You have Moloch. Moloch is a blue demon man. He likes to inflict pain on others. Moloch's style is Moloch. He turns into this destroyer of worlds. His first executive action is to smash the pyramid. Then he busts up Edenia, making it look like the Netherrealm, pretty much. Onaga. He talks about how Shujinko beat him, but Quan Chi's amulet kept him safe, but he was bound to the Netherrealm. Shinnok finds him and offers him a place as a ruler if he serves Shinnok. Onaga considers it. Shinnok needs Dagon to beat Blaze so that all of his enemies will die. Onaga helps him, but suspects treachery, so Onaga is acting like a pawn. He plans to keep Shao Kahn away from Blaze, but also not let Dagon win. Then he'll kill Shinnok because he's the boss. Onaga's style is called Dragon, but it's not the same dragon as the other dragon in the game, and it's also not the Gold Dragon. So there's Dragon, and there's Gold Dragon, and they're all different. He gets ultimate power, and he beats Shao Kahn to the brink of death and leaves him to the Deadly Alliance in a dungeon to be tortured forever. Okay, so now we'll look at the 18-ish characters from the pre-3D era games that hadn't been brought in yet. We have Rain up here. He's last seen in Trilogy. He gets a bio. He's Edenian, but he's also a direct descendant of Argus, the dad guy. He finds out that he's entitled to Edenia. He was kept a secret from Taven and Dagon, his half-brothers, but Quan Chi knows, and Rain makes his way to seize power for himself. Rain has this cool new costume. He has Ziran Men from Tanya, and he has this storm sword, and most of his moves are water-based. He becomes a full god in his ending. He's supposed to be the protector of Edenia, but instead he enslaves it. And because Argus is now an elder god, he can't discipline his son. Chameleon, with a C, from also Trilogy, he's one of Shao Kahn's deadliest warriors. He might also be part of, Reptile's race, I'm not sure. Chameleon looks pretty different. He has Crane from Shang Tsung, and he has a ninja sword. Chameleon gets to the top of the pyramid, unseen. What the hell, is he naked? I can see him. Anyway, he kills Blaze, and it says that he's always been there in Mortal Kombat through all the way to Deception. Now, he's the champion of Mortal Kombat. Sector is back. He was last seen in Trilogy, but I guess he was also in Tournament Edition there with Deadly Alliance, so he's kind of back. But anyway, he's getting all corrupt, and he becomes a bigger and bigger threat. He looks a little bit different from Cyrax, and his alternate is like a toaster man? I don't know. He gets Kenpo. He gets these pulse blades, which is completely different from his Tournament Edition iteration. He beats Blaze and links up with all the other cyber ninjas, like Smoke and Cyrax. They become an abomination of flesh and technology. Then it says they're going to transform more and become another gross god. Stryker is back from Trilogy, and he has no idea why he's here, but he has to defend his home. Stryker is very different from 3. He had a different appearance in promo renders, and his alternate costume is like this Johnny Sasaki looking thing. He has Huatron from Ermac, and he has a nightstick. He can shoot a gun like Jax. He has this taser move that's kind of like Scorpion's spear, but he's a dork. Beating Blaze takes away his sense of justice. He decides to fight on his own terms. He's like a vigilante cop now? Gross. Jarek returns from Mortal Kombat 4. His bio, he gets one, references his brutality ending. He didn't actually die there. He pulled out his knife and saved himself, got hurt, and he went into hiding. He thinks about revenge a lot. He learns about the cool new fatalities, and he just wants to kill everyone. Quan Chi helps him. Jarek looks either dumb or dumber. He gets to use Sub-Zero's dragon style, and he gets this kick-axe. His ending has him getting chi from everyone. He goes and does a bunch of fatalities on a bunch of warriors. Yeah, this is the scene of him killing everybody. We see that Sub-Zero's spine is next to Kano's beating heart. Armless Jax is beside these two halves of Kung Lao's body. He finished them all, it says, so congratulations. Then a bigger loser, Reiko, is back from also MK4. It says that he has served both Shao Kahn and Shinnok. Reiko is pretty dork-ass looking from the start, and then you have this alternate that makes him look like he pays for Twitter Blue. He has Yingyo, and he has a crude hammer, and he throws stars like Noob Saibot. He has this charge move where he gets Shao Kahn's helmet too, like his old ending. Reiko beats Blaze and remembers he wanted a bunch of power. He takes Shao's helmet, and it fuses with his head, making him a savage warlord? Okay. Fujin is back from MK4. He's here for Corrupt Raid. He joins up with Kung Lao and Johnny Cage and says he knew these new boys. He asks Argus about them, and then he decides he needs to stop them because their mission is corrupted. Fujin looks kind of like he did, but now he has this big old ponytail. He has Liu He from Shao Kahn, and he has this Devastator weapon. His moves are all like wind stuff. He beats Blaze, and he turns into this storm of justice. He created a new realm for the good guys to do stuff in, and Kung Lao is his general. Kai is back, and he's seeking enlightenment, but he doesn't have Raiden's stick. I don't know why that staff never went anywhere. He has like cornrows here, which is kind of funny looking, or his kind of original appearance with weird paint all over his body. He gets Moi Fa that Scorpion lost, and he gets this spiked club. I don't know if... I guess that's his weapon now, I don't know. Beating Blaze links him to the One Being. He can meditate and see all kinds of stuff. He gets to see Mortal Kombat's 1 through 6, and he sees nothing in the future. Chameleon, with a K, from Mortal Kombat Trilogy on 64. Now she's officially on the Wii version. She gets her first official bio. Shao Kahn destroyed Zatira, and only she and Reptile remain. She's been hiding all this time. She wants to kill Shao Kahn, and almost had a chance, but then Reptile betrayed her. She's sure Shao Kahn can't be defeated. She vows to take the power so that Shao Kahn can't. Chameleon looks like this. She has Eagle Claw from Katana, and she has this Falcon? I don't know. She has this weapon. She wins and takes the power. She fucks up Shao Kahn, and he begs for mercy for the first time ever. She turns him into a slave raptor. She goes on to do the same to the bad guys, but then she accidentally blasts the Raptor beam into the crowd of the good guys too. So now everyone in the world is like a big strong raptor. Zatira was back, baby! Shinnok. He was this elder god banished to the Netherrealm, then he escapes and he lusts for power. I guess last time we saw him was Mortal Kombat 4. He sucks here too, but not as much as he did there. Shinnok looks chunky, and his alternate is pretty much the same, but he has a robe here. He has this amulet staff, and he has this like ground grab with a skeleton hand, and he has some decent moves. He anticipated everyone dying at the big battle, and he sent a doppelganger. Maybe I'm just gonna leave that in. He sent a doppelganger to help Dagon, but then Dagon disappeared, and the fake Shinnok beats Blaze. That makes the fake one as powerful as the real one, which is to say, not all that powerful, but there's two Shinnoks now, and Shinnok has to fight himself. Serena. Technically, she was in Tournament Edition before, and she's from Mythologies, which we haven't really covered here yet, but this was her mainline debut. She gets to hang with the Lin Kuei for being nice in Mythologies. Sub-Zero tells her to hold on to this guide object thing and wait, but she follows him into the Netherrealm. She saves Sub-Zero from an attack by Noob, but then she reverts to her demon form. Sub-Zero attacks her because he doesn't know who she is, and she runs away and gets captured by Quan Chi, who forces her to help tell him where the Lin Kuei Temple is, and showing her that she's a bad guy demon by nature. She gives up the thing that Sub-Zero gave her, and she gets all depressed. Serena looks like this, showing off her ass a lot. She has Ba Shan Fan. She has this Demon Fang, which is also different from her Tournament Edition appearance. She gets all of Blaze's power and passes out until Sub-Zero saves her. Serena finds out she has freeze powers now, so she freezes Quan Chi, and they hide him in the temple frozen in ice. Alright, then there's Shiva, back from Trilogy. She serves as Sindel's protector. She has Shokan daggers. Shiva is blinded by the explosion of Blaze. Then, when she opens her eyes, she sees that she's in front of the Elder Gods. They're surprised, but then they turn her into a goddess of destruction. She busts up the realms, and they reform, completely different from how they were before. Motaro is back from Trilogy. He has nothing new to contribute. He's in 3D now, but he lost a set of legs. Look at this fucking dork. Motaro has horse style, but he's not a horse here. Motaro catches on fire in his ending. When it's out, he has 4 legs again. He undid the curse that I'm just now finding out about that turned centaurs into minotaurs. Now he'll go out and fight Shao Kahn. Meat, the kind of Easter egg character from Mortal Kombat 4. Now he's a full flesh, well, not flesh, but a full character. He's taking a thing made by Shang Tsung, who escaped before being completed, like in the 6th day. Meat looks more detailed than he used to. He took wrestling from Su Hao, and he has these meat cleavers, which is appropriate, I guess. Meat beats Blaze and gets power to shapeshift. Then he loses his sense of identity. Kintaro is back from Trilogy. He doesn't have any story. He has Tiger Fist, and he has these saber teeth. He looks like this. Kintaro beats Blaze and gets 4 swords. He has them infused with fire, ice, chaos, and order powers. The swords fly around and kill Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Havoc, and Hotaru, trapping their souls inside. No one's going to challenge him now. And finally, the 2 new guys in this game are the 2 dork-ass brothers. Dagon is the bad brother, and he wakes up from his deep sleep early, which makes him crazed and corrupted. He is the one who made the Red Dragon clan. Shinnok tricks him into killing their parents and then attacking his brother. Dagon has Fujao Pai and these Drake swords. If he wins, he does it by stabbing Blaze in the back while Taven is doing a thing. He completes the quest, but the pyramid opens up and reveals that his parents are not actually dead. It was a test to see the true nature of the boys. Taven gets to be the protector of everything, but Dagon will be punished. Taven is the guy, the good guy, and he's the guy you control in the Conquest. Taven has Gold Dragon, it's another dragon style, and he has a Drake sword, a single one. Taven beats Blaze, and he turns into a god. Then the power gets passed to every combatant. It was supposed to make them all weak and stuff, but because it's corrupted, it makes them all stronger. The game ends in failure. Oopsie. I guess that's bad. What's fucked up is this was the canon ending for several years. This is how the original timeline was supposed to end. They wrote themselves into the ultimate corner here. None of these endings are very good or memorable, in my opinion. They lack the character of the games before them, and not having any art doesn't do them any favors. There's no, have a nice day ending, no really super goofy ones. There's not much to go with here. It's kind of a bummer. Some of them are okay, but half of them are just people turning into gods, and they're just not all that memorable or good. They're all retconned anyway, so none of this matters. So then characters like Scarlet and Tremor, they predate the timeline shift, but they're characters from back in this day, but they're not here. Oh no, wait. There they are. You pretty much have every character ever in Creative Fighter if you want. I don't have my old save file available, but I think my old 360 is around somewhere, so maybe someday I can plug in my old hard drive and find my old version, but this is a rough facsimile of what I made as a cool guy in 2007. As I said, his name was Dark Neon. I don't remember if I made a whole story and stuff, but I do remember I didn't have any concept of what would make a good character in terms of moves, and I just threw on whatever moves I thought were cool. I got my ass kicked all the time because he didn't flow well. But with this, you can put all kinds of people in here. Fighting game fans have always wanted Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat to cross over. Well, here you go. I thought all the crossover DLC shit came out in the 2010s, but here's Rambo right here. You know, here's Omni-Man 17 years early. Come on now, superheroes don't go in Mortal Kombat. What the heck? They're putting random internet content creators in here? What were they thinking? But you have some decent options to make characters in here. I think modern WWE games are probably the king of character creators now, if we're being honest, but if you wanted to put a disgruntled insurance salesman from a beloved Coen Brothers film in here, there are worse ways to go about it. You can customize their appearance fairly well. I read that initially there were a bunch of preset classes they wanted to put in, but this is another area where the game feels kind of unfinished. During production you could do like human, Tarkatan, mercenary, black dragon, ninja, all this shit, but in the ship game, a dude character has the option to have a sorcerer preset, which is just the original Shang Tsung, look at him, and a lady has a preset of a Tarkatan. I guess when you unlock all the items of a particular set, you can use it as a preset, but I never knew that, and what's the point anyway? You're gonna make a character and use them, right? On the Wii, there's only one slot. On the others you had two, so here I had to overwrite my character every time. If you want, you can put anyone in here. It's kind of the Smash Ultimate of its day. Kind of as close as you can get to a 3D fusion? I don't know that I agree with myself from back when I wrote that, but I'll leave it in here anyway. You get to choose their hairstyle, their clothes, accessories, all that imagined fashion designer goodness, and then you set them up with a fairly deep fighting style and special move customization. If you leave it blank though, it's funny how nothing does anything. You get like one kick on every button. Weapons are simplified into swords and axes, and there are really kind of a disappointing number of options available here. Then you get to give your styles a name, an ending pose, along with a character name and a bio, which serves as the character's ladder ending. They're not much better than the ones that come packed in, though. You can do fun little fanfics if you have the time, and if you want to type things out on the completely tedious text editor here. Alright, a lot of the arenas here are remade stages from the series. They function the same way as Deceptions, with weapons to pick up and insta-death traps galore. A few of them are literally just Deception arenas. There's Falling Cliffs, Hell's Foundry, Nethership, and Sky Temple from Deception. There are a bunch of unique places to fight in Conquest that are only used there and don't have any extra features, so I'm not going to mention those here. But a lot of them are remade old stages, which I never really grasped until now. Like Armory from Mortal Kombat 2, but now it has a big squish wheel in it. Evil Tower is here from MK2, with the floaty guys in the back. Wastelands is remade from Mortal Kombat 2, and I like this stage a lot too. I like this catapult stage trap, and I like this documentary clip here too about the voiceover for this particular one. This is so dumb. The battle arena, where Mortal Kombat 2 ended, I never realized this was supposed to be that stage. But, you know, it has a trap on each corner. It has acid, spikes, lava, and this grindy wheel. And I've seen this stage so many times, and I'm just realizing that Shao Kahn is back here, and it's that stage. Bell Tower from Mortal Kombat 3. You can bounce people off the bell, and that's fun. Kind of makes the boss characters look super silly, though. There's Hell from Mortal Kombat 3, with multiple layers, and you can punch people down through them. Subway from Mortal Kombat 3, which with a pretty good version of this fatality. There's the Soul Chamber. It's remade again from MK3 and Gold. It's not so bad looking here. Reptile's Lair from Mortal Kombat 4, got eggs all over the place. There's Firewell from Mortal Kombat 4, with furnaces and lava traps. There's Goro's Lair from Mortal Kombat 1 and 4. You can bust through the walls and the ceiling, but they must have renovated and taken out the spike ceiling. There's this Takunin Prison. I, again, didn't realize this was from Mortal Kombat 4, but I think of this stage a lot when I think of Armageddon. It's got these fans you can blast people through, and it doesn't do a kill, it just busts them up. Then for Armageddon exclusive stages, there's Lumber Mill with this spinny death trap. There's this Meteor Storm, this one here. There's Outworld Spire. I remember getting this one only a couple times back when I played this originally. You can kick people down the stairs or over the rail onto spikes. I was looking for this one because I remembered this stage, but I was like, where did I see it before? It was here. And then the Pyramid, like the place where all the story shit goes down. This is the one where everything happens. There was no portable version of this game, and it was the first time that there was no portable version. This game was divisive. EGM and PlayStation Magazine in the US and X-Play didn't like it at all. IGN, GameSpot, Game Informer, GamePro, a lot of these people really liked it. Spike TV named it as the best fighting game that year. OXM06 called it the Xbox Game of the Year. And this was the last Mortal Kombat on a Nintendo platform until Mortal Kombat 11 on Switch in 2018. There was this kind of lawsuit attempt where Jack Thompson said that the game used his likeness in Create a Fighter, and he tried to send a cease and desist letter on selling the game. I don't know. But that's about all that I could find about this game. This game feels kind of indie in a lot of ways. You can feel the imperfections in these Midway games, and they're especially evident here, even though this might be the smoothest out of the three. They cut a lot of corners, and there's the missing bios, and fatalities, and recycled stuff. This is as far as the characters developed, and they keep resetting to before this time in the new timeline, so this is as far as the characters kind of developed back here, and that's, before this is where they keep getting reset to. The new game does a lot of new stuff, but this is kind of where it was. When I look at these, and I've watched some stuff on the original Mortal Kombat again, and I'm remembering how different they are tonally. Like, that first one feels like a kind of gritty, realistic martial arts movie. Now, this game is all fantasy, everybody's turning into gods, and that's kind of the direction they're in now. So, I don't know, I kind of miss the more grounded, stuff, but this is as far as the original timeline went. So, this game definitely is not my favorite or the best MK there is. I can see some of the arguments for it, but I feel like a lot of it is incomplete, and the conquest didn't really amaze me all that much. It's fun, and I like the Create a Fighter characters and the roster being so big, but with all that said, I think it's maybe my least favorite in some ways. But if we're playing favorites, Mortal Kombat 2 is probably at the top so far, and I really would need to reevaluate the original, because I love the gritty tone of Mortal Kombat 1992 a lot. But as a man of science, and speaking on the games from I picked them up and enjoy them today context, I regrettably have to keep Mortal Kombat 3 up at the top. MK2 and Deception beat out Armageddon, but I'll put it over Deadly Alliance because it has uppercuts and the air shit is kind of fun. So my ranking is this. This closes out the 3D era of Mortal Kombat. The next game is coming. I'm going to do Mortal Kombat 8, and you better get hyped for that one, because everybody loves Mortal Kombat 8. I'm going to probably start doing videos on other games and stuff too that I like, shorter ones, because these are getting kind of out of hand. I thought this one would be shorter because there's less to cover, but look at how I'm just looking at my timeline right now, and I'm over an hour, and holy shit. If you stuck around to watch this one after my initial ones came out, thank you so much. I had a whole bunch of stuff happen to me all at once, and I've been gone for a while, so I don't know, I hope that it won't happen again, but I can't make any promises at this point. If you're new, well, thanks for coming, and, subscribe, check out my other videos, check out my next one, I hope you come around. But yeah, that's about it for me and this video. Yeah, thanks for coming, thanks for watching, and yeah, I hope you'll come back next time when I do my next video. Either, I will be doing more Mortal Kombat, and I will be doing other games and other videos too. So, anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, if you've watched this far and listened to me rambling, and I'm going to stop now. See you next time.